Today on Rappler. Senate President Pro Tempore Ping Lacson resigns as Blue Ribbon Committee Chairperson. Senate President Tito Sotto says he's quite confident of the majority's support to retain the leadership. A construction firm founded by Cagayan Representative Joseph Lara had secured 3.7 billion pesos in government contracts since 2020. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. vows to hold accountable those behind alleged ghost flood control projects, including allies. And Pope Leo XIV urges Catholics to care for migrants. Senate President Pro Tempore Ping Lacson submits his resignation as chairperson of the powerful Blue Ribbon Committee to Senate President Tito Sotto. Rappler obtained a copy of Lacson's resignation letter on Monday, October 6. He says other senators expressed disappointment with the way he handled the probe into anomalous infrastructure projects. This was after the committee's recent hearings in which several senators were implicated by resource persons in alleged corruption. Lacson says some senators have insinuated that he had been, quote, zeroing in on several colleagues and protecting members of the House of Representatives. He denies all of this, saying, quote, there are no political considerations in any and all my actions related to my handling of the committee hearings and other related activities. He adds he has no reason to amass political capital because he has no further political plans beyond 2031 when his term as senator ends. Meantime, the Senate suspends its Blue Ribbon Committee hearings on the alleged anomalies in the Department of Public Works and Highways' flood control projects. Senate President Tito Sotto dismisses rumors of an ouster plot amid reports that some majority bloc members are planning to support another Senate leader. When asked if he still has the support of his colleagues,
I'm quite confident. But as usual, any senator who is elected into the leadership only serve at the pleasure of your colleagues, of your peers. So we always leave it at that. But as far as I'm concerned and as far as I know now, I'm quite confident that we are stable and the leadership of the Senate is well in place.
Sotto also says the majority bloc may hold a caucus on Wednesday or Thursday to discuss recent developments. In a report by Inquirer.net, Deputy Majority Leader J.V. Ejercito says that the Senate is, quote, losing focus on the real perpetrators and those behind the chaos. He adds he has seriously thought about leaving the majority if the probe doesn't change direction. Meantime, Senator Erwin Tulfo says that neither he nor his brother, Senator Raffy Tulfo, has been approached for support. Talks of another ouster plan in the Senate are growing after the expected resignation of Senate President Pro Tempore Ping Lacson as Blue Ribbon Committee Chair. Sotto was elected Senate President on September 8 following the ouster of Senator Cheese Escudero. JLL Pulsar, a construction firm founded by Cagayan 3rd District Representative Joseph Jojo Lara and now owned by his children, has secured 3.7 billion pesos in contracts from the Department of Public Works and Highways since 2020, the same year he became a congressman. Rappler's review of DPWH's online tracking portal shows 2.1 billion pesos worth of these contracts were in Lara's home province in the last 5 years. Since 2023, the company has won 1.37 billion pesos in contracts from the DPWH. Lara became a member of the House Appropriations Committee in 2022. In an interview with Rappler, Lara's Chief of Staff, Vic Kasaway, denies the congressman used his position to advance the interests of his children's construction company. Kasaway says, quote, their contracts have dropped dramatically. It's actually unfair to the congressman's family that their contracts have been reduced to this level. Kasaway notes, Lara, quote, he never entered into contracts in his own district. Based on the general information sheet submitted to the SEC by JLL Pulsar, Lara's children own 96.28% of the company as of March 2025. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. vows to hold accountable those behind alleged ghost flood control projects, even if his political allies are involved. But, he adds, prosecution must be based on strong evidence to withstand legal scrutiny. In an interview with Manila Bulletin, Marcos emphasizes the importance of following the law, otherwise any actions are not legitimate. He also says rushing cases with incomplete evidence could backfire and allow offenders to avoid punishment. He adds, quote, but if we are actually going to punish these people, we have to be very, very clear about what we are doing, and we have to be very, very clear that we go after the guilty ones. Marcos adds, the irregularities in flood control projects were so extensive that they showed a deep system of corruption that must be dismantled. He also calls the situation shocking, saying corruption in government had long been suspected but not as bad as what was recently discovered. Pope Leo XIV urges the world's 1.4 billion Catholics to care for migrants days after he criticized the hardline anti-immigration policies of US President Donald Trump. Leo had questioned whether the Trump government's treatment of migrants were in line with the Catholic Church's pro-life teachings, a comment that drew heated backlash from some prominent conservative Catholics. Leo tells thousands of pilgrims celebrating Mass in St. Peter's Square that migrants should not be treated with the coldness of indifference or the stigma of discrimination. He calls on Catholics to, quote, open our arms and hearts to them, welcoming them as brothers and sisters, and to be a presence of consolation and hope for migrants. And that's today's wrap. I'm JC Gotinga. Thank you for watching. Click the link below for the full story. Follow us on Rappler's YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, and TikTok.